know when we're live or when we're still in the green room, but I think we're live now, so you guys better behave or don't behave.
Are we? There is no such thing as us
I
behaving.
was gonna wait to freeze up and all this stuff and get nervous.
When you go live, so we're still in the green room, Eric. We're still in the green room, Eric. This is going to be a very special Coach Deb live show. It's going to be random. The title is Hope in Hardship, but it should be called #random show because you never know what you're going to get when you have Mr. Jason Cisneros, the Bald Avenger, and Eric Phillips. What's our new nickname for him? Is it the Big Sexy? Jason,
the Big Sexy, baby. Big Sexy in the house.
Big Sexy. And I was promised that Eric was coming in with sawdust because he's remodeling the bedroom, and I see no sawdust. I see no evidence of construction, Jason. So I have to call him on that. I don't think it's happening.
Well, like I said, I mean, Eric's version of construction and ours is probably different. That's all I could say.
You know what? I was looking at my homie drawing things out and stuff, and that was construction.
Drawings. Of course, that's remodeling.
Hiring people and watching them while you sip a latte is construction.
Hey, it was not a latte. That's gay. It was a Mexican coffee.
Was it Mexican coffee? Because that is my favorite. That comes with like condensed milk. Yeah.
No, I think that's just with chocolate and some sweetener and stuff.
Condensed milk sweetener, really super sweet.
Awesome. So is it gay to drink it, or is it gay to know what's in it? Which one is
it? I think both, Jason. I think both.
It's pretty funny because they call it a Mexican coffee, but when I was in prison, we just called it, a Cadillac. When we just take the coffee and then we throw some Hershey's chocolate in it and mix it up and stuff. Come on,
it's a Cadillac, baby.
It's a Cadillac.
Hey, are we live on Facebook where I could be sharing this? Where are you live at?
We are. So it's live on Facebook in my own personal profile. And then also on YouTube. So if you put sharethischannel.com, that'll redirect to the YouTube channel where we are live on YouTube and in my personal page on Facebook. So yes, you could do a watch party, I guess, from my page. But yeah, I'm just doing this live on my personal private. So far, it looks like a bunch of people who just joined. Aloha. I should go over into the comments and see who's here. As you can see already, we've got awesome guests. It's going to be a random show. We're going to be talking about finding hope in hardship. Eric's got a phenomenal story. Jason's got a story you may have already watched on YouTube with his interview with me. If not, go back and watch that. It's phenomenal. We were setting it. I think it was the Marriott Hotel down in San Diego when we were allowed to gather. And we were going to do a quick 20-minute show. And I think it was like a 50-minute, hour-long show. Phenomenal stuff. So Eric already started it out when he was in prison. So we're going to hear about your prison story, Eric. We're going to hear about your journey. Jason, I want to hear about what you're doing as far as rescuing victims because you've been going hard. You've still been traveling through all of this. You've been getting things done. You're not letting one situation just guide your whole life. So I want to hear about that. I also want to hear what it's been like to fly on planes, because I think these are the questions that inquiring minds want to know. And I just want to give a quick shout out to people who are joining us live. Thank you for joining me here. We've got Andy Falco Jimenez. Aloha. Hey there, amazing friend. I guess I should show all your comments. April Roga, my new friend at the Pat Flynn show. I met her in the morning at 8 a.m. I want to know the origin of the name, the Big Sexy. Oh, so yeah, Eric. And then we have.
You know what? That's what Jason calls me. He calls me the Big Sexy because, he remembers when long before I lost this weight when I was weighing in at 350 pounds. I think that's when I met him, and
yeah, and still sexy back then, baby. Still sexy back then. That's my nickname for him. You have to know him for over a decade to be able to give him a nickname. So,
and you do. Yeah. So Jason. So the other thing too, just for those of you who are joining us live and didn't necessarily watch the interview, but I encourage you to go do that with Jason Cisneros. Again, he's known as the Bald Avenger. We'll have a couple other nicknames for him too throughout the show. It's going to be a fun show. Hopefully, if you needed a laugh, this will be the show. And a side note, by the way, before I set up the introductions with the two of you, Jason was my hero on the TV show when one of the Hollywood celebrity comedians didn't show up, and we were going to go live in 7 minutes. And I'm like, Jason, I got out my phone. I was like, we're missing a guest. I don't know what to say in this 7-minute segment. I don't have anything ready. It was like right in the beginning of the season. And I was like, can you be funny? Can you bring the funny? And Jason's like, I don't know. I'll try. And he did. And I think we launched your comedic career.
That was literally the launch. It entered the thinking of starting a comedy career entered at that exact moment. And I don't know if I would have gone into comedy otherwise, but it was just a sort of a great, transition into making fun of stuff. And all of the greatest sages throughout my history and through the people that I look up to have been comedians. They've had some level of comedy, because I think if you're going to make it through this world sane, you have to learn to laugh at the stupid shit that happens.
You got to laugh at shit, man.
You do.
Because, the world is going to happen anyway. Okay. How you take the world is how you're going to make it through this world.
That's right.
With all the things that have happened to me in my past and stuff, if it wasn't for my ability to laugh my way through this stuff, there's no way I'd have made it through that, through the humps, and also to have a sense of humor. A sense of humor is huge, because this world is just so amazing. No matter how bad things get, there's always something funny. Okay, there's always something funny happening and stuff, and a lot of times it's just right there in front of you and stuff, but if you get so caught up in your own stuff, you miss all the amazing stuff that's happening around you. And that's one of the things that I was pointing out when you asked that question earlier today, tell you something that gives you hope and stuff. I'm like, the splendor of the human spirit is gonna overcome all of this shit. It just is. Humanity has survived for thousands of years and stuff, through pandemics, through dictators, through racism, through all of this and stuff. Amazing people will be amazing all the time. You can't stop amazing people from being amazing.
I think you're proving this right now. I think you're proving this right now, Irk.
That's why he's big sexy. Now you know. Now you know.
I had posted. So for those of you who are joining me on YouTube, or you're watching the replay and you're visiting us from the future, I had posted a post, just a regular post on my personal wall. Share some good news. I've just been bombarded with some just negativity and bad news. People, Jason knows, death threats upon me, people wishing the virus on me because I had a different opinion than them. It's been an awful, shitty day, shitty morning, shitty week. It just has been. And I reach out to people like you guys, right? To give that hope and to give that inspiration when it is hard. Like someone asked me the other day, like, oh, you can find the comedy and everything, and you can find the positive. And while that's true, it doesn't mean I'm always like that. And I think you guys would probably agree, but then we find something within us, or we find a friend to encourage us. And you were phenomenal, Irk. And I wanted to have you as a follow-up to Jason Cisneros' interview, because we talked about you. We talked about one of the things that you talk about, how Jason goes, you should ask my buddy Irk how many times he's experienced racism. I think that was the question, right, Jason, that you said. So I'm going to ask you that, and then we'll hear a little bit from your perspective, because you posted something recently on your wall. Maybe it was a week or two ago. I've lost track of days. There was a meme going on, and I thought it was a joke. I didn't think someone actually went to the grocery store like this, but you posted it.
Oh, no, they did.
So I'm going to let you take it away and talk about how often do you experience racism, and when you see things like this, how do you handle it? Because I think right now, every one of us are experiencing some form of hatred from someone that we don't know for no good reason. So how do you handle this, Irk?
It's funny that people ask me how I handle racism and stuff, because I've said it before. If someone has a problem with me because of the color of my skin, that's their problem. It's not mine. I've been a black man in America for 54 years now. I don't need lessons on how to be black. I don't have to prove that I'm black. So racism, it's just something that I don't look for. As a matter of fact, you ask me how I handle it. I don't handle it. I don't have to handle racism. It's not in my DNA to worry about somebody who's worried about me. Okay. If all you see is the color of my skin, there's so much more to me that you're going to miss if that's all you're looking at.
Yeah.
There's a whole life experience around it. There's so much love inside of me. I want to love on you so much. And if the color of my skin stops you from that, I feel bad for you because until you've been loved by Big Sexy, you haven't been loved right. Okay, you know, that's all I can say. And this color of my skin, you know, you can't see past this amazing face. You know, this guy who has worked through prison. Okay, he's worked through drug addiction, who's worked through alcoholism, you know, who's worked through being abused by an abusive father. All of those things that would turn somebody like me into somebody like them. It didn't happen. It didn't happen because I didn't want it to. You know, a lot of times we hear people say, well, these things, I'm like this because this happened. Or, you know, and I look at that and I look at the things that happened to me and I'm like, well, I went to prison. I'm not still a criminal. Okay. I was sprung out on drugs. I'm not still sprung out on drugs. Okay, I grew up in the ghetto. I no longer live in the ghetto. You know, so when they told me that once you parole from prison as a black man in the state of California, you're always going to go back over and over again. I haven't been back to prison in 20 years. I went once. It was enough. Okay, there was nothing good there. Okay, I see no reason to go back and visit, you know, old friends. You know, I'm like, no, there was nothing there for me and stuff, you know. And, you know, and when I spoke to you about the splendor of the human spirit, let me tell you what that looks like. That means that when you put yourself in a position to where you're trying to move forward, you know, there's a power in this universe. I call it God. I don't know what you guys may call it, that is going to send somebody to you to help you along that path. When you're on a path of truth, okay, the path of truth will be revealed to you. Okay, and it was at that moment when I first met Jason. I met Jason because I was on that path of truth. I had no idea how to get there. You know, no one had told me that, hey, you can do better with what you have right now. Okay, because I met Jason at that point where I was thinking, well, you know what, I don't have a college degree. And I didn't finish college. I can't do anything. I don't have any money. I can't do anything, you know. And I learned from there that, you know, those are excuses, you know, and they're no longer excuses. You know, they're no longer excuses. You say you define this meeting that we're having right now is how do you find hope in the face of what is it? How do you find in the face of
he doesn't even know the word, Jason. That's how he doesn't identify with it. He's like, hardship, I don't even know that word.
You know, I want to back everybody up though to the conversation that I had with him that I mentioned on your show, which was, you know, we were having a conversation. We sent out what we call the bald signal. We had a great big gathering of Misfit Nation, and it happens every city we go to. And, you know, and they've got Irk there, and there was a conversation going on back and forth. And he said, he said, I have never, not one time, right, acknowledged racism in my life. Not one time. Because, you know, it's all in the way you look at life, right? And he said it so eloquently at that dinner that it just stuck with me, that life is a choice and that how we're going to view this world is a choice. And, you know, if we're going to be afraid or if we're going to balance that fear or we're going to be ignorant, right? Because you have fear and you have ignorance on both, you know, those are kind of the polar opposites. And somewhere in the middle is where we navigate our life. You can't be fearful, overly fearful, because that does more damage to you than, you know, than anything, a bus hitting you or whatever. It's, you know, and then I love the people when we say this, Deb, and I see the same response on your side where it's like, you know, they say, well, 2 + 2, you know, doesn't equal 5 and, you know, blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, I get that. But nobody thinks 2 + 2 = 5. Nobody. Right? It's a stupid example. Like, stop using it. If you're watching this show, stop saying 2 + 2 doesn't equal 5. Every damn person on the face of the planet knows that 2 + 2 doesn't equal 5. Right?
Right.
So
no one's trying to make it equal 5. You know, they're not even trying. They're not trying to figure out a way to make truth false. Okay? They're only identifying their truth. Okay? And they're trying to make your truth their truth. That's all.
And if you don't disagree, like the great thing about this country is that we have a diversity, right? That word is embedded in the foundation of this country. It's diversity of thought, diversity of color, diversity of religion, that you can come here, that you can practice, that you can be free at what you do. And right now you have three schools of thought. One is that the virus is real. The other one is that the economy tanking is going to kill a lot of people. And the other one is that in times of crisis, the government has a tendency to overreach and keep the power that they take, right? And so the idea is that you can reside in the middle of that. And if you are in one of those circles too far, like some people have lost their job and they're more concerned about the fact that they can't feed their family. Some people are watching what's happening with our freedoms being stripped away from us, from people who have forgotten that they represent us. They don't rule us. Right? And there's people that are in the realm of that this is a virus that has killed somebody close to them. It means something. Every circle means something to everybody. But the solution is not making somebody in the other circles wrong. The solution is in being in the middle of that. And what can we do to best combat this virus and any virus that may come after it? What can we do to combat the idea of alcoholism, domestic violence spikes, suicide spikes, and that stuff in that circle? And what can we do to make sure that our government officials don't take this as, here, take our freedoms so that we can live under the illusion that you can protect us? Because each and every one of them that came out and said that this was going to kill 2 million people was wrong. Okay, you can stay in your wrong. I've done it. Irk's done it. You've done it. Where we're wrong, and we're so embarrassed about the assertion that we made that we double down and we triple down and we quadruple down. Thank God it's not 2 million. I'm glad they were wrong. That doesn't make them bad. People just makes them bad at math. It's okay.
And I'm glad Jason has that kind of passion, even though he supports Trump. I
love that aside.
I'm just gonna hold my coffee cup up here a little bit longer. Okay.
This is what I love about the Misfit Nation, about your tribe, right, Jason and Irk? Like, you guys totally differ politically, but that doesn't mean that you're not brothers. It doesn't mean that you can't have really good conversations or debates without being hateful or harmful or hurtful.
I would take a bullet for Big Sexy, and he knows it. And just because we don't believe the same politically doesn't mean that I don't know his heart. Right. Yeah. And he comes at things from a totally different angle. I listen to Irk for one reason. And that reason is because he has a different perspective and I know his heart. Right. And I may disagree at the end of the day, but I'm going to listen. I'm going to take that information in, and I'm not going to go back on his Facebook and go, you know what? You're wrong. You're stupid. You're an idiot. You're blah, blah, blah. And ruin a beautiful relationship that I have with a beautiful human being? No.
Right. Over people will never have over for dinner.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. Good point. Regardless of who wins the presidency, they're not coming to my house for dinner. They're not going to hang out with me. They'll never come to San Diego and do a misfit call and we all show up at the Marriott and have drinks together and stuff. It's not going to happen.
Right.
But the people who do matter to you, they have to matter because of their different opinions.
Yep.
Okay. Because if you only hang out with people who think exactly like you, how can you grow? How can the amazing diversity of the human nature grow without different thoughts enhancing each other? Okay.
Here's the thing. Imagine if, right? So there's a couple of perspectives here, right? Imagine if we were in that circle and we were pouring all of our energy into solutions instead of being right. How much further would we be along in this path of fighting the economic impact, the health impact, and the overreach impact? How much further along would we be?
Yeah, that's a great point. And what before, Irk, when we kind of went on laughing, you're like, I like Jason's perspective, even though we may not always agree. right?
Mhm.
You always get along, but you don't always agree, or you don't always
Right.
believe in whatever he supports. But that doesn't mean that you don't get along. Talk a little bit more about that, and also a little bit about your story, how you guys met, and you had some limiting beliefs, right? Like, I was in prison, I'm this, I'm that, I can only have this in my life. I can
Mhm.
only have this minimum wage job. And now, like, you've expanded and you've grown. So talk a little bit about your story, because I want you to encourage the people that are on the line. More people are joining in. Thanks for joining us live. If you're coming in from the future, aloha. It's going to be a spirited conversation, lots of comedy, and also some serious conversations, which you're
Okay.
saying. Tell us a little bit about your story.
Okay. Well, my story is really no different than anyone else who's ever been at the bottom. Okay. You hear people say, well, when you're at the bottom, the only way you have to go is up. That's true, but it doesn't always mean you know how to go up. Okay. Or that you even know that you deserve to go up. You're only going to get from this world what you know you deserve. Not what you hope you deserve, what you know you deserve. And I have always known, no matter how far down the scale I was, is that I deserved better than where I was. And I had no idea how to get there, but I knew that I had to get better. Okay. And once you start with knowing that your outcome is better, no matter what, okay, if your outcome is better, then what you do will be better. Because if you don't change what you're doing, and you've heard people say this before, you're always going to get what you currently have. Okay. I've heard people say you're going to get what you've always gotten, but what you currently have is what you're trying to change. You're talking about hope in the face of adversity and stuff. If you didn't have hope, you wouldn't have adversity. Okay, because if you don't want better than what you have, then you'll get complacent and you'll sit there in that poopy ass diaper, okay, and feel all that shit warmth around you and like it. Okay. Okay, but because you don't want to be in a poopy diaper, you get up and take a shower. Okay.
Yeah.
And so and if you don't know how to take a shower, if you don't know how to work the faucet, then you got to get out there and figure out how to make those things happen. Okay.
Or when you were in prison, you started off our show talking about when I went to prison, like it was a normal conversation, Jason, like anybody else listening is like, oh yeah, sure. When I was in prison, you kind of dropped the bomb there, but like that was just now an experience event in the past, right? What were some of the things, though, if I could take you back there for a moment, what were some of the things that got you through? Like, is that where you said, okay, I'm going to change my life. I'm not going to have this define me for the rest of my life. Take us back.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I would love to sit up here and say that I was that big, tough guy in prison. I was a pussy in prison. Prison scared me. Okay. When I pulled up to Donovan on that bus from jail, when they took you from jail to prison, and I pulled up and there was a coyote stuck to the electric fence. I died on the inside. Okay, because I knew that gate was opening to a world where I didn't know anything about it. Everybody who goes to prison isn't a criminal. Okay, I broke the law, but I was no career criminal. I was sending marijuana through the mail. Okay, that's the extent of my criminal history. Okay,
which now you'd get a nice little Yelp review. Oh, my package, it appeared on time and it was the right exact thing.
Really?
But you went to prison for that.
It was legal today.
And Jason, now he would be considered essential.
Right.
Essential.
He would be considered essential. So, or you went to prison for something that's now essential.
That's now essential and stuff, but it wasn't essential 20 years ago. And I broke the law. So I make no apologies for that. Nor do I make any excuses and say that, I shouldn't have gone to prison for that. I should have, because had I not gone to prison, I would not be who I am today. Prison created me. Okay. Because like I said, when you see a coyote stuck to the fence and you feel that gate close behind you, and the only thing that you know is God, because you were raised in church. And I got to tell you, God became more real to me in that moment than he had ever been in my whole life. You know, because until you have a need for a power greater than yours, because see, right now, as I'm looking at this, my hand is wrapped around some guy who stinks because he hasn't showered in a while. Okay, I've got one arm around him shackled to his side, and the other, he's got one arm around me shackled to my side, and our legs are shackled together. He stinks to high heaven, and I had nothing. No, I had nothing. Now, I got to tell you, when you have a faith that is that deep inside of you and stuff, you know, even though you don't know how to call on it or what to do with it and stuff, you know, that's all I had right there. Now, I'm not here to tell you that I relied on religion, because religion had failed me. Okay, but I had to rely on something bigger than me. And I had when I tell people about my prison experience, they tell me you had a nice prison experience. And when I look at this, when I hear the stories that some people went through, I really did. You know, I didn't get into any fights. Nobody beat me up and stuff, you know. And even in prison, nobody called me the N-word. You know, even after spending 13 months in prison, I'm 54 years old and I've still never been called the N-word. Okay. You know, so that was where I was, that was a bottom for me. You know, and
nowadays, right, just like the marijuana thing, it's evolved. So, you know, him being shackled to another guy would be a good thing for him.
You know what?
Couldn't admit that back then.
You send me a couple of $100 so I can pay for that.
Oh boy.
No, it's funny and stuff, you know, but you know what, that it really is. So it's nothing that I hide. You know, it's nothing to be ashamed of. Okay, and that's one of the things that, you know, what made me fit into this group and stuff, is that my past, it really does. My past made me grow. Okay, you know,
and,
so
and the group that he's talking about is the Misfits. That
yes,
Jason
you know,
started a group of Misfit. The Misfit
Nation.
Perfect.
I mean, which totally fits. I
name.
mean, here I am. You've got this man who loves the Lord at the level that I do, who serves God at the level that I do. But every church I go to tells me that because I'm married to a guy, I'm not supposed to do that. You know? Okay, so.
Oh, we have Ray. There we go. Ray
Ann
here. Another one of our Misfits.
Yes.
I love that. So we should bring her on too, Jason, because that story, again, similar to Irk, where she went to, I guess, a gala.
She's the original Misfit.
She is the original Misfit. Oh, are you taking us for a tour, Irk?
I am actually going to my car because my battery's running down.
I thought I was going to say he's going to go somewhere different, like poor Jennifer. And I was going to say we could take you off camera for a minute there. But it's good to see you, Ray Ann. Aloha. And we've got a couple of people I just want to give a shout out. We have Amani Roberts. He's been doing a DJ show for us. Thank you. I love your show. You've been lifting people's spirits through this as well. We've got Mark. We have April. Oh, and April's asking. So I don't know if Irk's battery died yet. We may have to put Jason on for a second. But April said that she went to your profile to follow him, but you don't have a follow button. So they want to know how they can either join any streams that you have or guests or shows. So once he changes his battery.
Sandy Longcar's in the house. Love her. Sandy. She's amazing. April says she's an unofficial Misfit. We'll become an official one and join Misfit Nation on Facebook, baby. Come on.
Yeah, Misfit Nation. Go ahead and go join us, April. You definitely fit in well. And you know, this is just a quick and I'm going to bring Jason on as well to have you share a few things because his battery's dying, but it's a great testament of how we are all here on this virtual world. It's real. So Jason, I'm going to put you on here while he's changing his battery. Bring us some funny. Bring us some funny, Jason. What's been going on in your life that's good? Some of your
I mean, it's all good. You know, at the end of the day, one of the things that has been hilarious to me is during this entire scenario, I started out, right? The first phase was they shut off the economy and everybody was like freaking out. They're like, what is happening? And so I started a series called CTFD, right? Calm the F down. This is your show, so I won't cuss. I won't. But anyways, and so we did that for a little while, and then what I started seeing was this totalitarian sort of push towards anybody that was like, what is really happening? These numbers aren't playing out the way that they said that they would. They're like da 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 da, right? And you had this emotional and intellectual elite descend on everybody like they're a bunch of idiots, and I went into defense mode against them, right? Which made me like, for some reason, I've never spoken the words that said that this is not a real thing, right? I've never spoken those words, but everybody goes, well, Jason, don't you know that it's a real thing? Like, and I'm like, I never said it wasn't a real thing. And then it moves on to the next, the next part, which is they have become expert shamers. Like, look, number one, I only have one feeling, and it's buried under a mountain of unresolved issues. And so you're not going to hurt it ever, right? So shaming me because of the things that I've done to be ashamed of in my own life is a virtual impossibility. Especially then you switch over into bullying. And if you know anything about me, I am a huge defender of people that are being bullied, right? You have women that are in their own home from domestic violence. I go to war for them. We've got little girls and little boys that are abducted and put into sex trade. We go to war for them. We have kids and people all around the world that can't eat. We go to war. We go to war for them. These are people who are genuinely victims in this world that need to have us reach in and open the door for them for freedom, right? And you come at me with, well, you must not have anybody close to you that's died. How about you? Have you ever seen your mom thrown downstairs? Have you ever seen her go to the hospital because of a broken nose because of your adopted father? Have you ever had your own nose broken? Have you been rolled over in a car by your adopted father? Have you seen somebody kill themselves right in front of you? Have you seen somebody die of a heart attack? Have you seen somebody that's got on and on and on and on? And I don't roll that out into their faces going, hey, don't you know that there's people? Look, the data that's real is every depression and every recession that's ever happened. There is an onslaught of numbers that tells you cancer, heart disease, suicide, domestic violence, child abuse, all those things go up, right? Shortly thereafter, a recession or a depression. And so that's all I'm saying is pay attention to those numbers. But it seems like if you don't care about a COVID-19 victim, you are a pariah in this society, right? You are an unfeeling prick. Well, guess what? During the middle of it, there's rescues that are happening. During the middle of it, this domestic violence is happening inside of homes for real, right? Inside of this, that there's people that are having to stand in line for food right now. You have food banks that are running out of food. So it's a real thing. If I was to go back and be as much of an asshole to them as they are to me, it's real, right? And then they go, well, where's the statistical data? Go back and look at it. Don't go to Facebook. I'm a purveyor of history. I want to know when I open my mouth about something that has happened in the past, that it is something that has historically and statistically happened. And you can go back to every single dip. You can go to third world countries go to Zambia, right? Go where their cash is completely worthless. What happens? Rape, suicides, death, or early death. You could go on and on and on and on about what happens there, right? And then what happens in a totalitarianism regime? All you have to do in recent history is go where a lot of my family comes from. I'm so fired up right now. I forgot the name of it. The South American country. You know what I'm talking about?
We do. And Irk just joined us back. So maybe
what's the name of the country before I forget my thought?
Country, Irk.
Venezuela. Good Lord. Okay. So Venezuela, all you have to do is go to Venezuela to see what happens when you trade your freedom in little tiny chunks to a totalitarian under the guise of we're going to take care of you. Look, we're a rich country. We have all of this oil money and we're going to give it to you. And you need to overthrow the wealthy and you need to overthrow the businesses. And we need to sweep all that in. Well, guess what? People now have to break into zoos and kill zoo animals so that they can feed their family in Venezuela. So you should be afraid of that. You should be not afraid, but you should be concerned that our government, it can't happen in America. I'm sorry. You hear the comment over and over and over and over again where they say that at the end of the day, that if you do not pay attention to history, you are destined to repeat it. I'm not going to be that guy. Like, I have gotten so many death threats and so many death wishes. And so on me, my family, my kids, all of those people, I've gotten so much hatred through this, and it just empowers me. It empowers me because I know that I stand in the middle of truth, and I'm doing it from a place of love. There has been many of my friends, not many, but there's been a few that used to be my friends that have utilized this time to, as an opportunist, to play on the fears of our friends and our loved ones and our children and the people in this country. And they've, oh, I've got more views. I've got this, I got that, you know, oh, good for you. But you did it while damaging somebody's ability to be able to fight back against the virus, because you're damaging their immune system by making them more afraid. Oh, the stay at home and stay safe thing. Oh, stay at home and stay safe. When you look at New York's numbers, and 66% of the people that were being hospitalized were people that stayed at home. They're keeping them out of the sun. They're keeping them from walking around. They're keeping them from interacting. They're keeping them from eating healthy food. They're keeping them from access to the things that give us life. And if I can't hug,
I have a question.
And if I can't hug Big Sexy, right? I'll finish, and then you get yours. But if I can't hug Big Sexy, that ain't a world that I want to live in.
I remember that too.
You know what? You're right. I had to let you finish that.
I remember when this all started too, Jason. Like Eric, you made a comment. You're like, I don't know how I can live in a world where I can't hug someone. And I just remember like just reaching out like through Facebook to try to give you a hug, because it's a basic human need. So I'm curious how have you been getting the hugs? And then what were you going to say to Jason just now?
You know what? It's funny. Without even realizing that he does it, my son comes home and hugs me all the time. And he's never been much of a hugger. Okay? But for some reason, he walks in the house, and the first thing he does is he'll hug me. And sometimes I'll be sitting up watching TV, and he'll just come and he'll hug me. So, as if he needs it. Okay? And because other than my son and my husband, I can't put my arms around anybody right now. Right. Okay? You know, even except my best friend when I'm over at his house right now, so we hug all the time. But that human connection, is critical. You know, it's critical. I mean, when you think about what they did when they said stay at home, okay, the reason why we're bursting out of our seams right now, even those of us who realize that there is a need for caution, the reason we're bursting out of our seams is because you can't keep humans away from humans. Okay? That's not the society we live in. That's not the society that we built. Okay? And none of us want it. Okay? Even those of us who wanted safety. Okay? Because I do want to be safe in this environment that we're living in right now. Okay? But without risk, you really can't have true safety. Okay? If you remove all the risk and stuff, how do you get strong enough? Okay, so I've been locked inside of my house long enough. Okay, you know, and I do want to come outside. Okay, and the great thing about being in San Diego, and you're here in San Diego with me, is that we're actually doing this pretty well. You know, San Diego is opening up at a very nice pace and stuff. You know, I would love to be out sooner. Okay, but you know, the citizens of San Diego are following every time they allow something, it happens and stuff. You know, we did have to protest. You know, there were people who just would not have it. Stuff, you know, and people had to get out there and say something. Say, hey, you know what? No, this is not okay. You know, it really isn't okay. Yeah. And like Jason was saying, if we don't tell our leaders that the decisions that they're making are not working for us, they won't know. Okay? So we have to know, and our freedoms in this country allow us to have a voice, a responsible voice. Okay? Just because you're being loud doesn't mean you're being responsible, and it definitely doesn't mean you're being effective.
Yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, and I said it while you were off screen, brother, is that our elected officials are meant to represent us, not rule us. And in certain areas, it looks like they're trying to rule us, and we'll push back. Look, we fought a civil war during a pandemic. You know what I'm saying? We did Woodstock during the middle of a pandemic that killed more people than has died so far of this one, right? We do Americans, people around the world. This is a human being thing, is that things happen. Ain't none of us getting out alive. It's how you live. It's those moments that you take, that you stand up, that you do something, that you get out of prison and you live the life you do, that Deb goes through the things that she's gone through, that I go through the thing, everybody that's watching this, right? Which is what this show is about. It's about y'all. And it's about the idea that you have stood up, you've been a champion before, you're going to be a champion again, and you can't stop the human spirit. It has, I'm wearing an American fighter shirt right now, but at the end of the day, it's a worldwide phenomenon, right? The people that live under the regime in Venezuela wish that they would have been able to stand up. I mean, you see out there, oh, everybody became a online doctor. Oh, everybody become a online constitutional expert. Well, thank God somebody's thinking about the foundations of this country for once. You know what I mean? Thank God it's happening, because at the end of the day, people are like, I'm putting this thing on HR 6, get 6666, right? That thing, and I'm getting trashed online because it doesn't say anything. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And the people of Venezuela, if they would have been paying attention, the people of Hitler's Germany, the people in Stalin, and I've read the books and I've listened to their words. Solonetsky that wrote the Gulag Archipelago. If you guys want to know about socialism and how it simply creeps in with the people not paying attention. Oh, they would never do that here. Oh, they would never. Somebody made the comment that Venezuela was one of the wealthiest countries in the world. I think it was number 3 at one point in time, while they were living under freedom and capitalism. And as soon as it went down deep and in a hurry. That can happen in America, and America is the last bastion for freedom and doing what's right. Like there's other countries, and I don't want to bash any country, because there's a lot of great countries out there. But America is the shining star on the hill, like as Reagan said, right? And at the end of the day, if we're not here, who stands between the common man and tyrannical regimes? Who stands?
Okay. Well, now, David, I'm glad you mentioned that.
I'm going to get him on a funny rant soon, but yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Eric.
I'm glad you mentioned that shining star on the hill, because when you are the shining star on the hill, everybody's looking at you. Okay. So all of the black spots show. Okay. And America has some black spots. Okay. Not just me. I'm not just the black spot. Matter of fact, I'm part of the shine.
Yes, you are, Irk. Yes, you are.
Okay. There are things in this country that we do need to work on. Okay. Now, like I said, I've never had to face racism, but we do have cases right now in the news and stuff, about people, and we've got some things happening here in San Diego where people wearing swastika masks and stuff, in the grocery stores, and Ku Klux Klan hoods and stuff, So, I would be an idiot to say I don't believe racism exists simply because no one's ever called me the N-word. You know, I see racism. I see other people who have to deal with this stuff all the time. I'm looking at these guys, this young man who got shot in Georgia and stuff, and the reason I bring these things up, Jason, okay, is because just like you're saying, when you're talking about, socialism and stuff, and people not standing up in this country, when you stand up, are you just yelling, or are you really aligning with people so that they can hear your message? You see, the reason I like to lead with I've never had to experience racism is so that I can show people that you can have a voice and make people hear you. Because see, when I say I've never experienced racism, because that's my truth, and it is 100% true. But now people are listening to me because he's not that guy who's been called the N-word all the time and stuff. He's not that guy that the police beat up in the back seat of a car. He doesn't have all those crazy stories and stuff, you know. Because see, all of my stories have to do with the growth of this country and the positive things about this country. Okay, America is a beautiful country. Okay, and yes, we do have to stand up for it. But because we get to stand up for it, we will stand up for it. Okay.
Well, and doing what's right, I mean, you know, doing what's right in the face of adversity, right? I mean, he says he's never faced racism, right? I lived in a fully Hispanic town, got jumped all the time by the Mexicans in that town, right? I have been in a couple of inner city situations where I got jumped by black gangs, right? And I put myself there. That was my own responsibility, but then they don't realize I'm part black and I'm mostly Spanish, you know, and they were jumping their own kind.
You didn't even realize it until recently.
I didn't. I had no idea, but I want to go back in time and say, look, y'all.
And Irk, you and I know right before the show started, he was mostly pink.
I was mostly pink.
Right.
He was pink. His light had pink all over his face. It's pink.
It's ridiculous. At the end of the day, if we could just look into the eyes, into the heart of the people that we associate with, don't associate with people who aren't aligned, like Irk says, right? Don't associate with people who aren't aligned with you and your mission and your legacy. If you're not easing suffering, you're causing it, right? And at the end of the day, that in my life, in my world, I want to align with anybody who is looking to add service. To Irk's earlier point, it's not about how loud I get. It's not about how many words I can spit, you know, at a per minute type. It is what Jason Cisneros does when he's off the damn camera, right? It's about what Irk does when he's off the camera. It's about what Deb does. It's about what we do in our daily life. Are we easing suffering? Are we adding to it? It's a simple equation because I'm a simple man.
Well, you can't spit anymore when you talk. It's illegal.
No chance.
Don't do that.
You know, I have to be honest, though. It also boils down to what do you allow in your life? You know, because a lot of times we associate with people for what we can get from them, and sometimes they're not good for us. You know, I have to go back to the racism thing and stuff, you know, because the reason I never experienced racism because I will not allow racism. I will not allow racism in my life. It's not an option. It's not an option for you to judge me by the color of my skin. I've gotten everything I can get out of this country as an American can get because you are not allowed to look at me as just a black man. I won't let you do that.
Well, and Irk, here's the other thing that you do since I've met you. You take personal responsibility for your own actions. You say, if I want something more, I've got to improve my skill sets to be able to achieve that which I see for myself. You're not I've never one time have I ever seen you lean on the fact that somebody else is responsible for your success. Your new car, which you're so proud of. You know what I mean? You got that car because you took those actions. Right. The fact that I was standing in front of you when we first met, I took actions to get off the street, to be in that suit in front of you at that meeting so that we would meet. Right. It's about your decisions. Damn it.
And sometimes we make the wrong decisions. I didn't go to prison because I made a good decision. Okay. You know, and sometimes our wrong decisions, we can turn them around and make them the best thing that's ever happened to us and stuff. You know, I grew because I went to prison. I didn't go to prison to grow. Okay. That shit happened to me, and that was what I had to deal with. That was the tools that I had to build my life with. An ex-con, no college education, no ability to make money. Those are the tools that I had. But I still wanted to be something more than what I was, and that was the clay that I had to deal with. Okay? If your clay is fucked up, oh well. You know? People have had fucked up clay before and stuff, and built amazing statues and stuff, and built amazing lives. You know, I am building an amazing life for myself and for my family.
Well, that's what the damn Constitution said. The Constitution said life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, not the guarantee of happiness, not that somebody had to make me happy. It's life, liberty, life like I can live my life. I can have liberty, which means I can make my own decisions, and the pursuit of happiness. And the only time that I will cross that line is when I am impeding on, go back to my original statement, which is I live to ease suffering. If you're not easing suffering, you're causing it somewhere, either in yourself or the people that are around you or in society at large, right? And easing suffering is, and if you're not, then you've crossed over the line, and I have impeded on Irk's right to pursue his own happiness. Now I need to pay a price for that, right? That is what the Constitution of the United States of America allows for.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the definition of a crime. Okay, when you think that your rights trump my rights.
Amen.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Hey, Jason,
now you've committed a crime, and so because now you have taken from me my ability to be the best I can be.
Yep.
Okay, and you have no conscience. You're not thinking about that. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like the guy who doesn't signal when he's changing lanes and then gets mad because you ran into him.
Mm.
What were you gonna say, Deb?
Okay.
Oh, he said Trump.
Oh, he did say Trump. I heard him say Trump.
Your rights trump.
He's gonna be a believer one of these days.
He's gonna convert you. Or if you notice that little underlining, he's like seeding those thoughts in there.
I have to be clear. No, Jason, I've told you before. My dislike for Trump has to do with the man. Okay, I think he's a horrible human being. Okay, I don't like him as a president. I haven't worked in over a month, and all my bills are still paid. You know, so
it's the first time in the history of this country that the government stepped forward to give the money to the people, right? And I gotta, again, I know you say that you can't stand him as a human being. I look at it through the lens of what do people do, right? I see him being a good father to his family. I see him fighting through whatever he's had to fight through in his past. I mean, he was at some point $1 billion or whatever in debt, right? And been able to fight back and all this other kind of stuff. So I see the results of what he's been able to do and how he's approaching leading this country from the perspective of the people that he works for. And this man is doing it for no paycheck. And his businesses are getting hammered.
That's why I love you, man, because you just said so much bullshit. You know, so everything you just said is my reason for hating him. You know, we're looking at the same picture, getting a different story.
That's it. That's it.
I love this.
That's 100% it. You look at that perspective and look. Because I'm a huge fan of the framers and the founders and the people that wrote the Declaration of Independence and our Constitution and all those things. Look, back then there was a little line that said you should serve this country, right? If you were to go to become an elected official, you would go and serve, right? You would leave your business, you would leave your home, and it would be a sacrifice. You would set no laws against yourself, and then you would return to the place that you were setting. It was supposed to be of service. If somebody gets rich when they go to Washington, D.C., they are stealing from the American people. And you see that time after time after time after time. Trump is the only president that I know of in modern history who is worth less money than after he started.
Okay.
I'm going to only have people that debate on the show from now on. This is great.
Make sure that they love each other first.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
No, because it could get ugly. You know, because I'm thinking some stuff in my head right now. This dumbass motherfucker and stuff, you know. But you know,
that's great.
I promise you that sometimes after my own show, I look back at myself and go, "What you dumb motherfucker."
By the way, I think it's Sandy who has a question. She was wondering who put the Todd Special's daddy.
That's a natural occurrence. It's a pecking order that happens naturally. That's what happened.
You had to be here for that back and forth. When they did that Facebook post where they went back and forth on that, I was just dying. I was dying.
I love Todd. He's also
ever.
He's a good man. He's a good man. He's a good man. And it's okay that I'm his daddy. It's all right.
See, now he's going to have to come on and defend his honor now, Jason. So we're going to find out what he
thinks.
Oh,
God. You get no honor after that.
Oh, gosh. Oh, and we had another question. Scott, Sylvan Bell, let's bring that. It was way earlier. Something about your mug. Yes, here we go. They want to know what your mug says.
Well, my mug on here says, well, where'd it go? Where's the camera?
There we go, right toward the middle. There you go. You have two options, 1 and number 2. That's Jason Cisneros, the Bald Avenger.
That's right, baby. But I love you. If you're fucking off or if you're or whatever it is, I love you.
So one thing I do want to bring the story back, because we started a little bit where you were talking about being in prison. You were talking about minimum wage, that you didn't think you were worthy, but then ultimately the thought that got you to where you are now is because you did believe you were worthy. You did believe you could have more, right? And you somehow stepped into that. So take us a little bit back to the meeting with you and Jason, and then where you are now and what you did to get there, because that kind of follows up with the original interview with Jason and I on my YouTube channel. And if you're joining us live midway through, go back and watch that interview with Jason. He got fired up on that one as well. I think I mostly uncensored his comments. I think maybe I took some things that would offend Irk. So you're welcome, Irk. But it was I think we said in the beginning, Jason, that we were going to fund at least 1, 2, or 3 people, and you said, well, we're going for 5 or 6. So we did our job. I think we did.
I think we hit all the points to piss everybody off, which is fine.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, yeah.
If not, we're not doing our job, right? I mean, but I want everybody that's listening to the show to understand that no matter what perspective you're coming at, like, look, Irk and I disagree at different points, but the one thing that Irk has, that you have, that most of us need to be focused on is we can have differing opinions and still love each other, and not just love each other, but I would go to war with Irk by my side. Like if he needed me in the middle of the night, I'd be on a private jet on my way to his place, and I would beat somebody down for him. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day,
Trump.
But look, at the end of the day, where is the energy going? You saw what happened there in the exchange, right? Where is the energy going? He has his opinion. I stated mine, and we got right back into laughing. And what our energy is going to be spent doing is solving problems, not doing mathematical this, that, or Trump that.
Exactly. A different opinion doesn't mean that you're not going in the same direction.
That's right.
Okay. Our ultimate goal on this planet is to help other people. Because I've gone through the challenges that I've gone through, I'm in a very unique position to help people at the beginning of their lives. Okay. Because that lie that because you're an ex-con or because you're an addict that you can't achieve anything and stuff, that's bullshit. It's a bullshit lie that we tell ourselves and that other people tell us. You'll never be any good. If your name is Baby Daddy and you're a deadbeat dad, and those are the titles that people bestow upon you, and you feel like you can't even change that. You know what? Well, fuck it. I'm only going to pay the bare minimum to my child because this crazy woman is doing what she's doing and stuff. When our behavior dictates what we get out of life, and it also dictates what we give to this life. That energy that we're giving out there is the energy that we're getting back and stuff. So I'm here, okay, because somebody needs me. I am empowered by that. Okay, it is not my onus, it's my pleasure. It's my passion. If somebody wants to know how to fix their life, I want to make sure I'm in that position so that when I first met Jason Cisneros And he was sitting there and he was doing his presentation, didn't know who the hell I was, had never met me before. He was just practicing his speech, but he did it with so much passion. And he said one phrase I had never heard before. I hear it all the time now, but at the time, it was the first thing I heard it. Limiting beliefs. I had never heard of limiting beliefs before. It just blew my mind. It blew my mind. You're telling me that I can't do something because of something is a limiting belief? Whoa. Whoa. And my life built from there. Okay. From that simple belief that I don't have to believe that I can't, that I can always believe that I can, even if I don't know how to get there. Because then it taught me how to learn how to get there. See, when you're hungry and you don't know how to eat, you're going to figure out a way to do it. When I paroled from prison, the only thing that I knew was that I was never going to break the law again because I didn't ever want to go back there. And I didn't know how to do that. I had no idea how to live the lifestyles I like to live with the lack of education that I had. No, with no job. Okay, I didn't know. I had to learn how. And it wasn't like I walked and got my first job and it was the right job. I've done so many jobs that were beneath me. Okay, my first job out of prison paid me what at the time, what I thought was the most money I was ever making in my life, $5.45 an hour. Okay, and this was in 2001. Okay, this was when I met Jason. The job that I had, I was making $12 an hour. Okay, and that was in 2003. Okay, what the hell? Okay,
well, here's the summary of what, and I love Irk is such a great example of this, where you look at, I kind of shrink things down into edible, usable, actionable items for myself. And one is that I'm put on this earth to serve, right? And so I am put on this earth to get to be as good as I possibly can, so that I can serve other people, use those tools to serve other people. And that is where all your advancement comes from. And I don't care if you're a charity or a pastor or you're a for-profit business or whatever it is. And we have it backwards. All of the pain in this world happens when we get it backwards, which is I'm in this world to get as much as I possibly can from as many people as I possibly can, and put in as little effort as I possibly can to do that. It's reversed. It's the flip of that coin. And what you heard Irk say, and what he's been a demonstration of from the day I met him, was, oh my God, I'm on this earth to become the best me, not for myself, not to be in service to myself, but to be in service to others, right? I will need to make more money so I can take better care of my kids. I need to make more money so I can have a better place to live. I need to make more money so that I can drive a car that I already saw in my life that could get me back and forth. All along the way, upgrading the way that I dress, the way that I speak, the way that improving myself constantly and consistently, so you can get to the place where you can go and in my own life, be able to go anywhere at any time. Pastor Rudy rings up the phone. Hey, Jason, we need to be in this foreign country. We need you in this city. We need you wherever it is. I'm on the next plane, baby. And we're doing what we need to do to get a little girl that's been abducted from her home and is being traded in the sex trade. I can get a phone call at any point in time from Cat Dawn in a new Dawn on the domestic violence side and say, listen, we need new teeth for this woman who had her teeth knocked out. We need rent paid for our girls because they're not going to be able to cover it this way, and be able to react, right? And to be able to do that. And then when we have bigger needs, to be able to reach out into a community who trusts me, where I don't ask for shit from them. I serve them constantly and consistently with my shows and with everything that I got, and reach out and say, hey, we need $1,500 over here for a new Dawn. We need $2,000 for this rescue. We've got an entire village that we need to feed because they had a famine over in Africa. That's what you do. You serve, and then when you need something that is in service of other people, people show up for you.
Yeah. And I wanted to bring Kat up here because I saw her earlier, because I want to talk a little bit about her. But go ahead, Irk. What's happening here?
Did you hear what Jason just said? How empowering it is to be a man of service. You know, when you know that at the end of the day somebody is better because they met you. Holy fuck! You're better because you met. If you're not better because you met me, I fuck up. Okay. You know, whatever it is, if you're smiling more because I held the door open for you, if you're the little old lady walking down the street and I said, one thing about living in Point Loma, when you see old ladies walking down the street and you ask how you're doing, they answer.
That's where he's getting his help from, Jason.
You know, and if you give them enough time, you'll find out that their husband was the old retired general or whatever and stuff, you know, and stuff, because Point Loma is a very military area and stuff, you know. I mean, how awesome to give people some of your time. That's service, okay? You may not be able to go out and do the things that Jason does. You may not be able to serve at that level. Well, you know what? God doesn't need you at that level. That's why he has Jason there. You know, Jason is the one going all over the world, Pastor Rudy. You know, he can afford it.
But
I can make little old lady smile.
and at the end, they're both equally important, right? Because we're serving with the tools that we have, right? I see a couple of comments that are flashing over here, and that, you know, men in prison are undereducated and all that kind of stuff. Well, look, one of the great things about Deb's show, why I go on anybody's show really at the end of the day, is because I'm an example, right? That Irk is an example of people that yes, we might have been undereducated. I didn't graduate from high school. You know what I mean?
Hold on. Wait a minute. I didn't see that comment. Men in prison are undereducated. Let me be very clear. Okay, when I paroled from prison, and when I went, it wasn't because I was undereducated. I went to a private school where I got all A's, and I had gone to college. I had a college education. I hadn't finished my degree. Okay, so I didn't go to prison because I was stupid and because I was uneducated. I'm smart as a motherfucker. I went to prison because I got caught with 250 pounds of marijuana in my car. Okay, you know, that shit will send you to prison.
Until now. Now you'd be essential. Now you'd be essential.
Yeah.
Right.
That
was in the past.
It's brilliant, because that's the thing. I was in and out of jail many times. I've been stabbed in the chest. I've been shot in the leg. I mean, and I was severely undereducated, right? Severely. And what I did, which is what I've seen you do, and I've seen Irk do, and everybody in Misfit Nation, is nobody has us shackled so tightly that we can't pick up a book.
Right. Right.
That's a deep
stuff. When you're in prison.
Mic drop.
Yeah, I'm not going to say another word after that, because it's a choice, right? This is the thing. You're either imprisoned, right? And you can talk about many people. Solzhenitsyn, who I was talking about, you've got many people that were in prison that became educated while they were in there because they chose to use their time, right? To use their time to educate themselves. And education is always a choice. If you don't know how to read, learn how to read. If you don't know how to read at a high level, learn to read at a high level. If you don't know how to apply the information that you're reading, learn to apply it at a high level. There are mentors at every single step along the way for people to be able to take their game to the next level. And if you don't choose to do it, it's like gold laying all around you on the ground, and you're just like walking over going, this shit is so uncomfortable on my feet. It's just, what is all this stuff? And somebody looks at him and goes, hey, dumbass, that's gold. Why don't you pick some of it up? It's because you're choosing to be stupid. It's because you're choosing to be uneducated. It's because you're choosing to be an asshole in life, and you're choosing to blame everybody else for your problems.
And in this
Jason, sometimes people don't know how to not do those things.
Somebody what?
Sometimes people just don't know how. I'm sorry. What were you saying?
No, go ahead. I think we have a. Go ahead. What you're saying is way more important. I was just making a joke.
No. I'd rather go for question or something. I was just going to be but
the gold is toilet paper is the new gold. That's all. And now when I go to CVS, I'm seeing their receipts as toilet paper. That's when you know you've been in quarantine too long. When you see CVS, you keep them because you never know, Jason. This could be this could be.
I do know. I'm a crazy prepper who's been ready for this moment of my life for 10 years. I got guns. I got food. I got.
Why did I not know that? Who surprised at that? That Jason didn't have to go buy toilet paper.
I'm good. Like, you know, my entire family, everybody that knew me, you don't hear me talk about it because every time I did, I got called crazy. Well, you're never going to need to go da-da-da-da-da. I bought property with water on it. It's got food. It's got guns. You don't want to come at Jason. You don't want to come at Jason during a pandemic or any other kind of crisis. You just go on by to the people down the road that think it's okay not to own a gun. You guys own guns. It's like like there's been a tremendous spike in the amount of guns that have been bought during this period of time. Not anybody shooting anybody, protecting themselves. Again, the Second Amendment.
More
they're right.
I'm just going to get
everybody's right.
I can drop after. It's going to be a throwaway mic.
You know what? Our rights in this country today in 2020 really are ineligible. I can't even pronounce that word. I can spell it, you know. But you know, our rights are our rights. They're imparted on us because we are humanity. In America, we are human and we have certain rights. The Constitution defines those rights. Okay? You know, so I don't worry about that. I truly don't worry about that. You can't take my rights from me. I can give them away, but I'd be damned if you take them. You know, you cannot take them from me. You know, just like I'm married to a white guy. I didn't need permission for that. Okay? I didn't need permission to love who I love. The law caught up later, okay? But at the time that I loved who I loved who I loved. I did not need permission for that. Okay? And raising my son, two men raising a son together, okay? We didn't need permission for that. You know, we couldn't legally adopt him, so we just adopted him anyway. You know, we just did it. He needed a home. We had a home. He was raised in our home. He's our son. We didn't need permission for that. You know, why do you need permission to be human? Okay, why do you need the government to say it's okay for me to go outside and take a walk?
Which is one of the single greatest acts of men stepping out of the way of God-given rights passing through to the individual. That is what the greatest thing about this country that has ever been and never has otherwise, because otherwise you're by birthright, you are a king, a noble, or a serf, right? By birthright or by force, when you would take over and kill the predecessors before you. Right? This is one of the first times in history that it bypassed men and was imbued upon the individuals inside of the country, right? And gave us our God-given rights, not the rights that somebody else has to tell us what to do, what to think. It's here. Life, liberty is all yours, and the right to pursue happiness. You may be miserable. That's your choice. Go ahead. Right? Be miserable if you choose, right? But you do, and then don't step on the right of someone else's pursuit of their own happiness. But it bypassed the president of the United States. It bypassed George Washington. It bypassed all of the rich people that gave their treasure and their blood to make sure that we're sitting here today, able to have conversations that we're able to have and not be imprisoned for them, right? And that's what we're talking about.
You know, and why would you let that happen? You know, we set up and we talk about, don't let them take your rights. Don't let them take your rights. Don't let them take your rights. Do I need to tell you not to let somebody take your rights? You know, don't let them take your rights. Period.
Right. You know, and sometimes you have to fight for them, because if you sit back and you abdicate your power to other people, which is what we've done for far too long in this country, which is why we find ourselves in the place that we are right now, is we abdicate it to somebody else because we're too lazy to engage in constitutional history. We're too lazy to engage in political intercourse in your local area. You're too busy. And you're just going, oh, I want this person, I want that person. and they saw our mindful laziness, and they have divided us
I'm
from each
sorry.
other.
I heard the word intercourse, and then I heard I want this person, I want that person.
I wondered if you're going to say that. There was no comment. There was no comment from you to pull up.
Yeah, well, you know, I threw it in there just to see if there was a little bit of red meat that would capture you. But that's my point. That is our right. And so now when I see people on the internet, I'm like, thank God you're paying attention, baby. Like, you're paying attention. And sometimes if somebody seeks to extract or take your rights, we have the Second Amendment put in place for this reason, for us to protect ourselves against a tyrannical government, right? That is why it's there. I pray to God that we never need to use it, but it's there for that reason, right? And so at the end of the day, those rights are put in place. Bypass Man landed squarely in our laps, Deb's, Irk's, mine, and for us to take responsibility to maintain the freedom by which we have been blessed. And there's many other countries and many other time frames that you can go back through in history and realize that that was not always the way that it was, but we have become lazy, we have become entitled, and we have become disinterested in driving our own boat. And as long as somebody's promising us something for nothing, then they get my vote.
Mike, drop.
That hurt, Jason. That hurt. You know,
he's like,
that fucking hurt. You know, because sometimes see, this is why you never align yourself with people who believe exactly as you do. Because if people can't expand your way of thinking, or just make you go, is that really my truth? You know, because you see, you can't enter into a conversation with anybody unless you're willing to be wrong. Okay? You have to be willing to be wrong, or you won't learn anything. You know, and now, although what Jason just said, like I said, it hurt, but it hurt because it made me realize a piece that I gave up. I didn't realize I had given up. You know, and that's fucked up. You know, and to do it on. No, I mean, no, come on. You know,
we're seeing transformation right before our very eyes. We're seeing transformation right before our very eyes, Irk. I love your honesty.
Well, you know, he didn't transform me over to a Trump supporter and stuff, so it's not that much of a transformation. But he did make me realize that, you know what, I have been okay with some things for safety reasons that I didn't really have to be. You know, I did. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to go out and grab a picket sign and stuff. You know, I still wear my face mask and stuff because I believe that me wearing my face mask respects the person who may be scared. Okay? Although I'm not as scared as other people. I understand that some people really are. And if I'm going to be effective in associating with people, I need to meet them at their fear. Because I can't hold you accountable for your fear. But if you're scared, let me meet you there. Let's talk about that fear so that I can help you beyond it. Okay? And you help me to understand why you're so scared. Why are you so scared of a bug that your natural immunity can protect you against? You know, why are you so scared of it? But then if I find out that you've got a grandmother at home who already has respiratory issues, you know, then I can understand and I can align with you and I can meet you there and I can understand why you're in so much fear. You know, so it behooves me to make sure I wear a mask when I come across you so that you can feel safe to go back home and take care of your grandmother while you're out getting drilled.
I love that, Irk. I love that. And I'm not that guy. You know what I mean? Like I love the fact, and this is where a lot of the battles come in, right? Because to live in fear, right, is the antithesis of living life in the first place. Now, living and precautionary, right? Precautionary means that 97% of the 100% of people that have passed away had 1, 2, or 3 comorbidities: overweight, heart disease, right, or diabetes. Okay, all 3 of those can be impacted by the way you treat your own body. right? And so that's one of the great benefits of what we're going through right now is the fact that those are some of the comorbidities. Now, older people happen to have more of those because of the aging process, and we should have thrown $1 trillion into protecting that portion of our society while the rest of us had to deal with it, whatever it was, to handle that, right? But I will not. Now, this is where I'm not going to wear a mask. Number one, because I took the antibody test and I already had this. I lost my sense of taste for 2 months, right? And I just took it the other day, found out that I've got the antibodies, and that means that I've had it, I've been through it, right? And I'm on the other side of it. So nobody is in danger of Jason Cisneros giving you COVID-19. You're not in danger.
So, Jason, you're saying that your body fluids can heal somebody.
You had to go there. The answer is yes. And it'll be at jasoncisnerosfluids.com is going to be the next. And it'll be on sale for a 1 ounce bottle of the healing elixir for $799 per ounce.
Oh, man.
All proceeds go to charity. All proceeds.
All proceeds.
My point is that you can't, when you live in fear, right? When you're living in fear, there is also medical data that will show you that your immune system we'll use their word, right? It's immunocompromised when you are inside, not getting sunshine, when you are stressed out, your cortisol levels are spiking, and your body has less ability to be able to fight back, right? And so I get it. Look, but at the end of the day, there's nothing that you can do to make somebody feel safe when you go outside that they won't die in a car accident. There's nobody that you go outside and you could physically demonstrate, right? I put up a joke and a meme the other day that said the face mask is the new Prius, because people that drove around in Priuses thought that we were all unfeeling, unsensitive pricks who wanted the penguins to die. And they drove their little Prius because it looked like a Prius. They did studies on this. It looked like a Prius. So when they were driving it, it was making a statement that they were better than you, that they cared more about the world than you, and that they were gonna be on some plaque somewhere that they saved a tree and you fucked it, right? So at the end of the day, now the face mask has become that same thing. I'm not going to wear a symbol of submission anytime in my lifetime. If I didn't have the antibodies, if I didn't have it, if I die from COVID, then that was the way that I was supposed to go without taking precautions, washing my hands, doing all the stuff that we've heard. Is that if that's the way that God wants me to come home, I can't mask myself out of it. Right. And God put me on this earth to be a representation of fear. Right. That is the opposite. That is the enemy of going to heaven, is being in fear. You want to be in fear of something, be in fear of the fear of the Lord, right? That's what you would say, Eric, is be in fear of the Lord. Nothing else should scare us, because we are our children of God. If you believe in the Bible, if you believe in Christ, if you believe in whatever it is, a religion that you believe in, it is always we are of the Father. And if the Father, in this case God, right, that we're talking about, if we are in service of the Father and we are of Him, that means that we are representatives of Him and have all of the creative power within our lives to act accordingly, to be able to create as He has created. And we forget that. We forget that the Bible tells us that we have that power.
Jason, it's not. Don't get me wrong. Okay, I'm in recovery. Okay, so I understand that sometimes people have to die in order for me to make it. I mean, I get that. I have watched people come into my recovery programs and not make it. And because I was working with them, I made it. Okay, so I'm okay with people dying at their appointed time. And I'm even okay because if their appointed time just happens to fall during a pandemic, and they were going to die that day anyway, whether they caught COVID-19 or they caught a bullet. I even get all of that. But, you know, Jason, you work from a different place than I do. Okay? And I love you for being there, because if you weren't there, I wouldn't be here. Okay.
And if you weren't where you are, I want everybody to hear this. If you weren't where you are, I wouldn't be where I am. I mean, thank God the rest of the world isn't like me. And thank God that you exist, Irk, because you solve problems from a different perspective, a different life experience, and still a heart of gold that you are in service to people. That is very kind. I hear you say those words. I don't want to help. If somebody else is afraid, I don't want to add to their fear. Oh my God. You want to talk about a thought process. I've never thought that way. That's not the way I think. I've never walked around going, I wonder if I had the flu and sneezed 5 years ago, if that got to somebody that eventually killed them. I've never thought that way. And thank God you're here, brother.
Oh, God. I'm glad. I don't think that way either. Let's not make it weird.
Yeah, it's never weird between us, brother. It's never weird.
If you died from one of my sneezes 5 years ago and stuff, it was your time. My sneezes just was delivered. Okay.
But now you're going to wear a mask. Okay.
But at the same time, if I'm trying to help you up, okay, and you're in a place of fear, I've got to be able to meet you there so that I can help you. Okay, and it's the same thing with alcoholism. It's the same thing with drug addiction. It's the same thing with guys paroled from prison. You know, the people that I help is because I can align with that. You know, and Jason, you know, where you are right now, it is an amazing place and stuff. You know, where you get to inspire other people, to inspire people where they are. See, the reason that there's so many, I could have sat up here and thought to myself, why do they have me on this show? I'm not a millionaire. I don't have the money. I haven't influenced at the level that they influence. But you know what? I have influenced at the level that you influence.
You continue
see
to.
the people whose lives I change. Okay? So I know where I am on this planet. Okay? And to think that you have to be at a certain level in order to be able to empower people, that is one of them limiting beliefs that you told me I didn't have to have about myself.
That's right.
Okay. Well, I have sat here and I have worked with guys who were just getting their lives back together, who are now millionaires. Okay. You know, because I was there in the beginning, like you were there in the beginning for me when they didn't know how to get there. Okay. And now they got past themselves and they made it. And that's awesome. Okay. These big ass shoulders are strong. If you're making it because you're standing on these shoulders, you have a better chance because of these big, strong ass shoulders.
Amen.
Okay? That's what I think in this world.
Big, sexy shoulders.
Amen.
Lily says amen. Kimberly says, hey, Irk. Kimberly also says, hey, Jason.
Hey, Kimberly.
What's up, Kimberly?
And Ray Ann says, hair pull for an antibody kiss from Jason.
Yeah, she likes it when I pull her hair, is what she's saying.
I feel like she's trying to
okay. I have to say it. You know, at the next time that we all meet up and stuff, you know, everybody lick Jason.
The next unstoppable conference.
Not 100% not opposed to that. 100% not opposed.
we gotta have a lick fest, you know.
You know what I love, Jason, too? I just thought of it as he said, the next time we get together, it'll probably be at your unstoppable event because you had it right before we all got into lockdown.
Oh, we were the last live event prior to the zombie apocalypse. The last one.
Oh, and you know, by the way, I realize why it's the zombie apocalypse, or like why we've seen the zombies and they're all action. It's because we haven't seen the sun in like 2 months. I
haven't been out of the sun. You can see my face is bright red right now. I haven't been out of the sun for 2 months. I
have to admit, I'm a little sunburnt myself because I have not been staying in the house. I've been staying away from people.
Good for you.
But outside is where I live.
Yeah. He's over sunburnt, Jason.
Yeah, I mean, I've been flying. I've been going play. Look, at the end of the day, I already knew that I had this, and I also knew that if I did get it, I would get over it. And I knew that if anybody that wants to stay home, you can stay home. I'm not going to bust in your door and come spit on your dinner. Like, you know, at the end of the day.
Well, now everyone wants your spit.
If you want to stay home, stay home. I know.
Now everyone spit. Now it's apparently a commodity and people are going to buy it. Apparently Rayanne's going to sell it. She's already setting up a business. Yeah, this is let's talk about pivoting in this time.
Now I know what else that photographer is doing follows you around everywhere. I'm like, who is following Jason taking these pictures? I'm like, the same guy following Jason, taking his sweat and putting it in a bottle.
Well, but by the way, it's not him, it's her, and her name is Emily.
Yeah, she actually is here. Wait, here we go. She had popped in. 3 amazing people.
Oh, my baby's here. Hi, baby.
There she is.
I love you.
We have to bring all of you in here. Oh my gosh. All right. So this is phenomenal. Andy couldn't leave. He had to go somewhere. He had to stay here because he was like locked in. And if you don't know Andy, you guys should connect because you guys align. You don't even realize. And then Christopher. And on your birthday, Sandy. Oh, is that when we're getting together again? Is that the goal? And Kat Dawn, I want to also give her a shout out because talk a little bit about Kat Dawn because I will wrap up the show, but I want to hear a little bit about what you guys have been doing. Because I don't think people realize, Jason, I think a lot of people judge you for flying. You're still flying. You're supposed to stay home and save lives. And you have been saving lives. You've been rescuing people. You've been doing things. You've been raising money. And you had said something or did something. And the pastor had said something. And I was so motivated to give because of whatever he said. I don't even remember what it was. But just talk a little bit about Kat Dawn, how you met her, Rayanne, because what you're doing is so powerful. And like these days, we've been so distracted from what you have been doing and your mission on earth. So I want to end today's hope during hardship of how you're bringing hope for people that are in hardship, and you're risking your life and you're getting on planes and you're still traveling places. So talk a little bit about that, and then we'll all say aloha.
Well, Andy, first off, I want to address his racism. He says my face is the same color as my shirt. So
yeah,
I just have to, I'm going to face down that racism right now.
I called you out. Like like, you're pink, you're matching your shirt. We got to tone your color down.
I got all this, influence and shit, and I can't get somebody to get my fucking lighting right. Like this is a problem. But Andy, I see you. I see you, Andy, you and your pinkism. So look, at the end of the day, I don't like talking about the shit that I do. It's not about me, but I will talk about Kat Dawn, who runs a New Dawn, and through this entire pandemic has had women got beat up more, right, since they closed down the economy than they were before. So that was a need that was rising as their ability, these women that are in recovery and they're in, being hid away from men that are seeking, trying to find them, blah, 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 blah. That went up while their ability to earn went down. Okay. Mm-hmm. So she has had to step up and at an amazing level to be able to fill that gap. Pastor Rudy, who runs CERT Ministries, who I run with now on doing the undercover rescues around the country and around the world, has the calls have increased. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes I'm traveling because I'm going to save a business that needs to be saved before it goes under. And our calls for helping companies restructure, reprogram, downsize, those kind of things, those conversations have continued to go up. So just because this thing hit, when you're a leader in times of crisis, you're needed more, not less. Yeah. Right. And what I saw happen with a bunch of the internet gurus is they disappeared. Yeah. They're gone like ghosts. And I'm like, okay, fine. They're gone. I'll just do a show every day. No matter where I was, I'll do a show every day to put information out there telling you, calm down. It's going to be okay. Here's some strategies. Here's what you can do, giving and giving and giving, because in times of crisis, leaders are called to step up, not step back. Mm-hmm. And so that has really revealed during this period of time to me, the people that are the real leaders out there and the people that deserve audiences and the people that deserve, those types of, that type of respect. It's not because of how much money they have, right? You never see, like, I am never going to be that guy that shows you my house, my cars. I'm not somebody who shows everybody my wealth. I'm not going to be. I never will be. And the time that I did that prior.
I think true wealthy people don't.
No,
So
because is at the end of the day, everybody wants your shit. So
exactly, you hide it. You don't.
When I didn't have shit, I was acting rich, and they could take it because guess what? That shit, the bank owns that shit. Now I own my own shit.
Hey, that explains why my broke ass has $1,000 watch.
What I'm wearing. It's an iWatch.
An Apple Watch.
Why? So I can tell how my heart rate's going when somebody pisses me off. It buzzes me. Calm down, Jason. But anyway, at the end of the day, to wrap this show out is, Deb, you are a reflection of constant service and constant inspiration to people around you. Irk is a person who is of constant service and influence and inspiration to people around him. And the thing that you guys both have in common is that your hearts are giant, and you know that you serve first and are rewarded later, or you're not rewarded. You don't really care, right? It's about giving for the sake of giving, because that's what we're put on this earth to do, is to serve. Get to be as good as we can, not for our own personal gain, but for the gain of humanity around us. And that comes with sacrifice. And the more you sacrifice, the more you get used to it. The more you're rejected, the better you handle it. The more you fail, the better that you get, because you're progressing. Nobody fails when they're sitting in their recliner, eating potato chips, drinking a beer, bitching about the person on television, right? Yeah. It's about advancing. It's about hardening your spirit, right? Your spirit's muscles. What Irk has done with his body and losing all of that weight and hardening himself. That was discipline and execution over a period of time for a vision that he saw for himself. And if everybody could put together that equation, they would not have time to fight with each other on Facebook. They wouldn't have time to go to go on my live streams and all the shit that I do. They wouldn't have time to go, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. I wish you die. My Twitter feed is full of people hoping that I die. And at the end of the day, you can't touch me. You can't touch me because I reside here, and you can't get to it.
Amen. Where are the amen comments? I feel like what a wonderful way to end. But I feel like this show was more for me than anyone. But if you join me and you were here all the way to the end, I love you. You are truly a friend. I needed this. Jason, Irk, I love it. Irk, you inspired me on my wall earlier. And even just throughout the past month, even when you said something about I need those hugs, I'm like, how can we deliver Irk hugs? You've been on my mind so much because of that, right? So I have to end this with we got to give Irk a big virtual hug. Come on, Jason, join me. Give me a hug.
I'm waiting, because I'm gonna squeeze the shit out of him, and I'm gonna kiss that bald head of his. I can't wait to see you, brother. I can't wait to see you.
Antibody juice.
Yep.
Oh man, be Jason, man. I love you guys and stuff.
Love you too, brother.
I just cannot believe that God has put amazing people like Misfit Nation in my life and stuff. So and that's what lets me know that I must be in God's favor, to among such great people. So you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
You're awesome, Irk. I'm glad you were here to follow up and also just to inspire everyone. And
you're awesome, Deb. You keep doing what you're doing, lady, because you are very important to this world. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for leading and teaching and guiding so many people to improve their lives. You are a blessing.
Thank you. And I'm laughing only because Andy's like, great show, guys. I chose you over educating my kids. They'll fail today. Thank you, Andy.
It's probably good because he's a pink racist. It's probably good that his kids are.
Pink. You came and you were all matchy pink, and he was really a pinkist. I got to say, Andy. Yeah.
I mean, it's Falco Jimenez. I mean, are you Italian? Are you Spanish? Make up your mind, brother. I love the fact that he's not here to pitch back at me.
I feel like Andy next week will be a follow-up. You're going to be joining. Irk's going to come back. We're just going to have the ever expanding show with guests on, and I feel like this show is just for me. I think you guys are just very entertaining. You've lifted my spirits. I've had a rough day, rough weekend. Sandy, maybe.
Oh, Andy just resurrected himself in my life. He just said, when I kiss Irk on the head, I got to be wearing a Trump shirt.
Just to irk them.
No, you can see it. Like, Fox News would put up their race relations completely repaired, and CNN would put white supremacist attacks black man. Right?
We have all the headlines. All the headlines. Oh, good, Chris. Yeah, Christopher Casson. I turned his last name into an Italian last name. I don't know if you knew that, Jason, but Christopher Casson. He says this has lifted my spirits. Thank you. How do you know Christopher?
Love Christopher's my little brother.
Little brother.
All right, you guys. I gotta go.
All right. Oh, there we go.
All
Yeah,
right.
Mutt. Andy says he's a Mutt.
Thanks for having me, guys. I gotta go put this drywall up.
I love you guys. I love everybody watching. Peace.
Go do your remodel.
Right.
Bye.
Love y'all.
See you next Tuesday.
Right. Bye, guys.
Bye.